This is a Pwnage video against a feminist whose identity will not be revealed here. I'd like to read to you, if I may, from the book How the Mind Works by Steven Pinker. For those of you who don't know, Steven Pinker is a professor of psychology and the director of the Center for Cognitive Neuroscience at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And this particular book was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize in 1998. So this is a highly respected book by a very reputable scientist. And he offers this criticism of feminism. The unstated premise that nature is nice lies behind many of the objections to the Darwinian theory of human sexuality. Carefree sex is natural and good. It is assumed. So if someone claims that men want it more than women do, it would imply that men are mentally healthy and women neurotic and repressed. That conclusion is unacceptable, so the claim that men want carefree sex more than women do cannot be correct. Similarly, sexual desire is good, so if men rape for sex rather than to express anger towards women, rape would not be as evil. Rape is evil, therefore the claim that men rape for sex cannot be correct. More generally, what people instinctively like is good, so if people like beauty, beauty would be a sign of worth. Beauty is not a sign of worth, so the claim that people like beauty cannot be correct. These kind of arguments combine bad biology, bad psychology, and bad ethics. Feminism would lose nothing by giving them up. So we begin to see the flaws of feminism. They view the inequalities that still exist between the sexes not as an evolutionary construct, but as a social construct. But the truth is that evolution is what made man the more sexual of the two genders, because having sex with a wide array of promiscuous women was the evolutionary survival strategy that most benefited man. Women evolved a very different strategy. They would find a male partner and use him to protect their offspring and therefore their genetic legacy. And the men would agree to this because the women would provide sex. In other words, men provide love to get sex, women provide sex to get love. And this is not to say, folks, that all men are cheaters who are constantly on the lookout for new prospects. And it's not to say that women are all gold diggers who are looking for the man who has the most power and influence to protect them. All I'm saying is that this is the evolutionary strategy that benefited the genders best throughout our history. And if you look at the social structure of any society, you're going to see those values reflected in some major way. Now, a lot of feminists say that pornography is evil because it objectifies women. But the reality is more complicated. If I could be allowed to read from Steven Pinker's book just one more time, I'd really like to. And this is not even a section concerning feminism. He's just talking about pornography in general here. I don't want to give anyone the impression that I'm using Steven Pinker's book as a Bible here, but this particular passage just so perfectly elucidates the reason that pornography is so popular in America and throughout the world, and always has been. Another part of the male sexual mind is an ability to be easily aroused by a possible sex partner. Indeed, by the faintest hint of a possible sex partner. Zoologists have found that males of many species will court an enormous range of objects having a vague resemblance to the female. Other males, females of the wrong species, females of the right species that have been stuffed and nailed to a board, parts of stuffed females such as a head suspended in midair, even parts of stuffed females with important features missing like eyes and the mouth. The male of the human species is aroused by the sight of a nude woman, not only in the flesh but in movies, photographs, drawings, postcards, dolls. He takes pleasure in this mistaken identity, supporting a worldwide pornography industry which in the United States alone grosses $10 billion a year, almost as much as spectator sports and the movies combined. In foraging cultures, young men make charcoal drawings of breasts and vulvas on rock overhangs, carve them on tree trunks, and scratch them in the sand. Pornography is similar the world over and was much the same a century ago as it is today. It depicts in graphic physical detail a succession of anonymous nude females eager for casual, impersonal sex. So pornography is a naturally occurring thing that far predates our current Western civilization. And even if feminists could somehow show that pornography is harmful, what are we going to do about it? Men want it, and women are willing to provide it, provided that they are adequately compensated for doing so. So not only is the feminist anti-pornography stance anti-biology, it is also anti-economics. And it's insulting to both men and women, because what feminists are essentially saying to men is your sexuality is dirty and you should be ashamed of it. And what they're basically saying to women is you're not smart enough to make your own decisions, you're being exploited, you're being duped, you're a drone, and you're being programmed by the system. So on the issue of pornography, feminism is insulting both genders. Alright, now that all that's out of the way, we're going to start the Pwnage. I'm sorry it took so long, but I just had to lay the foundation work before I could even get started. So let's go.
Hey everybody, the Pwnage section of this video is a little bit too hot for YouTube. I think you're going to have to go check that out on freespeechvids.com. The link is, of course, in the description. I do ask that you favorite this video nonetheless, because I think that by itself it is a really good refutation of quite a few of the notions that feminists are peddling these days, even if it's not a thorough and utter debunking. And if you like the fairly civil tone of this video, then I would suggest you don't watch the Pwnage section, you just stay here and just think that this is all that was said on the subject, because it does get a little heated in the next video. Peace out if you're leaving now while I'm still being civil, or welcome to hell if you're actually going to continue on to the Pwnage section.